And we have Todd McFarlane's version of Super Powers. The throwback to the 1980s, about 1983. I had a bunch of these when I was a kid, all the major ones. That was really one, between that and Star Wars, and He-Man. Those were my three big collects, and Super Powers lasted the longest. I was really sad when they could not be found anymore. So here is in package on card. I may keep this one on card, I'm not sure yet. I think I bought it actually to try to do a Michael Keaton repaint on it myself, custom. So, but here he is completely in the package. Here he is after I did a quick swipe with the knife to take him off the card. I think I will keep the cards. Okay, so I got these for $7. Now here's a crazy thing about these things. You know, here the full line's not out. It's barely not that old. Already on clearance over there. Now when I went over to Walmart and I saw these on clearance, I said, heck, well, I'm gonna grab them, because you know, if I wait till later on, they're not going to be available. I'm going to have to pay a markup to get them out of the package anyway. These do not typically come with accessories, but anyway, so at clearance for $7, I'm game. Now, new figures are coming out. So I was like, why is the Flash, why is Green Lantern, you know, why are there's so many of them? Well, it turns out that those were not supposed to be on clearance. I didn't know that. So I ended up getting them all on clearance, because when I went to the register and some of them rang up, like Darkseid rang up and it was $7. I told them, well, I'll grab some more. But when I went and grabbed the other ones, they didn't ring up $7. So the lady, you know, said that she would just give them all to me for $7. It wasn't until later when I got home that I realized that that was a mistake. So I kind of, I feel bad about that. I don't think I've enough to go down and try to pay the difference, but okay, well, I lost a little bit of video right there. So this is Batman while he's still in the package here. Okay, and then I went ahead, and the other one I had was, I took them out of the package. Now my first observation here is that he's broader than, and a little meaner, I think, than what he looked in the original 1983. Now when I had these, this was one of the sets that I grew up with. They got me, I just loved my Super Powers action figures when I was a kid. I was very, very sad when they discontinued the line. I think, it's kind of crazy the way they do with toys, because it's one of the only products that it's all or nothing. They want them to fly off the shelves like hotcakes. You'd think, walk into the store, how many other, like towels, spatulas, toasters, how many of those things fly off the shelf like hotcakes, and yet they keep them stocked year after year. Unfortunately with toys, that's the way it ought to be, because when you're a kid, you might love your toy, but they don't sell as much because everybody's got one. Well, then what happens after a year or two? They start to break, they get lost, you want to replace them, and then the kid's going to be sad because they can't be found anymore. They're not available. So it's really unfortunate. That's just the culture and the greed of toy makers, in my opinion. Like this Green Lantern here, supposed to be full price, but I got it for $7, and I got the Flash for $7. So anyway, that was a mistake. Kind of feel bad for it, but not enough to go and have them ring it up. Considering, that's their whole thing anyway. The way they do it, it's just confusing. They issue them. Walmart's here trying to get rid of them, even though Batman and Superman are going to be the most, the most popular out of the entire line. They're the classic figures. So here we got Superman. Now the cape on this one, again, it's kind of the same material as with the budget Batman design. And so quick comparison here, you know, it's actually a little better, I guess, but it's about the same. So same kind of budget cape here. Of course, the hole that they pegged through, that was a mistake on the production mistake that they did. But at least the cape is wider, right? So it's not bad. It's not going to look bad standing there. It's just not. It's not wonderful. It doesn't hold up to the Super Powers 1980s version of the character. But other than that, it does. Other than, you know, it's just a more broad, a little bit different design. It's a little modernized. But otherwise, you know, it could fit with that lineup pretty well. So these capes are all, it's all the same material. So you can make your own cape, or there's some other aftermarket capes you can buy. Okay, now moving right along, we've got Superman. I'm going to cut right into him, and I'm actually going to keep these cards because this is how my father did this when I was a kid. I used to keep the cards back then. All right, and then we also have to get rid of this carefully. What a big mistake on their part. Yeah, there we go. All right, did it without cutting myself much. All right, and then now also, to be honest with you, the plastic material almost feels a little cheaper. Yeah, it does feel cheaper. This is softer plastic than the 1980s. Wow. Comes a little stiff. I guess stiff is better than loose. All right. Now he's got some really sunken in cheeks. I don't know if you can see that. But otherwise, you know, it's a good sculpt. It's a completely different sculpt. You know, I really wouldn't have complained, to be honest with you, if they went with the same Super Powers sculpt and just reissued those, like Toy Biz did in the 1990s, 1989-90. So here he is with his. Fortunately, the cape is the right size. Okay, got a nice S emblem on the back. It's the right size, the right color. It looks good. Okay, mostly matches the boots, not quite. The cape is a little brighter than the color of the boots. Okay, but it's doable. Let's have Superman and Batman next to each other. There we go. Finally out of the case. I've been waiting to do this for maybe a couple of months, I think. All right, out of the package, ready to go. Now we have the Darkseid. Darkseid, also got him on clearance. Now I can already see that the Darkseid, you know, 1980s version was larger. Okay, that's the first thing. He was so much larger than the rest of the line. And to be honest with you, actually, I remember the last time when I got my Darkseid Super Powers, I think it was about 1990 or 91. It was the only one on the shelf. I think it was just late coming out. It got onto the shelf and there was no other superpowers available at that time in any of the toy stores. So, but it was larger than this one. If you compare the size difference, you know, he's bigger than Superman, but the size difference on the 80s version was even bigger than that. So, but the detail, you know, you've got details in here, kind of a rock-like detail here. It's not on his legs or anywhere else, but anyway, it's there on his face and on his arms. Okay, the plastic again is a soft plastic compared to what you might expect, but it's adequate for an action figure. It's still really, really cool. Hey, you know, this is awesome. Like, just the fact that anything close to the 80s superpowers are on the shelves is pretty dang awesome. Okay, I'll go ahead and pull Green Lantern out of the box. So first we'll take a look. Here he is in the package. Now I think it's really cool that this edition, I think his name's John Stewart edition of the Green Lantern is available. You know, so the only other one, I'm gonna get one of the. I have to get a Superpowers Green Lantern to put next to him, Hal Jordan, and then, you know, maybe next they'll issue the Guy Gardner version. All right. Here we go. But otherwise, really cool suit. You know, it's the same as the Hal Jordan version of the suit. The only difference is he doesn't have his white gloves. Right? But otherwise, their suits are pretty close. And that was always just a really unique, one of my favorites is the Green Lantern from the Superpowers line with his white gloves. But this is awesome, and of course now you've got the variety, so we just need the Guy Gardner version of it, and you have a decent little Green Lantern Corps going with several of those characters. So how cool is that? Really good looking action figure. And then lastly, for right now, because I didn't go ahead, I guess Wonder Woman just came out, and so she's still full price. Didn't want to scam them on purpose, on that, so I'm just going to wait until she's on clearance. Now they had a couple other figures. They had the Batman Who Laughs. I thought that was like too much like Hellraiser. I'm not really interested in having that figure. But in comparison, I do want to show you. I mean, I have the Toy Biz version of the Flash. Not a popular opinion, but I believe that the 1990 Toy Biz Flash was actually superior to the Superpowers Flash. I just felt like, his body was a little too small, to be honest with you. Maybe, he's the Flash, so I guess he's got a really high metabolism, so he's supposed to be really skinny. But anyway, I think this mold actually is better than both of those, because the Toy Biz one was a little puffy. So this is a good, right between, Now that I'm holding it though, actually, he might be closer to the original Flash than I thought. Actually, this belt here moves. That's not molded in. That's glued on. So that's an interesting detail, kind of adds a little something extra to it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love the paint job, the big bright insignia here, nice long, you know, air pieces, antenna, whatever these things are. You know, but that's really cool. I think they really hit it. I mean, there's nothing I can complain about. Of course, again, the new Super Powers figures do not have an action feature gimmick like the old ones did. Both the Kenner originals and the Toy Biz rehash that they did, all of those had some kind of super power feature. I hated those as a kid. I didn't like them. They always took away from the figure, in my opinion. And my opinion hasn't changed. So today, they don't have them, and I think it's great. Some people would like them to have it because, you know, for the same reason that we like these things today anyway, which is, you know, nostalgia. Well, and that's fair. Hey, you know, it was a gimmicky 1980s craziness, and sure, why not? If you want to have it in there, have it. But, you know, it wasn't something that I particularly liked. I'll just put it that way. So now we've got just the figures by themselves. You know, none of that gimmick. They're completely adequate. They're going to look beautiful just standing there. Not much more you could really ask for, in my opinion. Again, these are, you know, I bought these just to hang on to as a collectible, just because of my, you know, having grown up in that era, having gone through a period of time when they were no longer available and experiencing that. It was sad. So now I have them. You know, when I have kids and they want to play with them, that may happen. So we'll see. So anyway, so that's our Super Powers Todd McFarlane. What I have of that line so far. Okay, in comparison, we've got the budget figures from Family Dollar. Okay. The Super Powers cape feels like it, you know, give it a half point of better quality. It's removable, which is kind of nice, but at the same time, you know, it doesn't lay as flat, which isn't as nice, so give or take, you know. But of course, and then it has that hole in it, which will bother everybody till the end of time, including the people that made it, I'm sure, made that terrible error. But we can live with it. So, but yeah, so there you've got your 5-inch version and your 6-inch version.